Hi guys, this is Alex from BlackboxMyCar. We are firm believers that the only way to truly evaluate a product is to use it ourselves. And since the Thinkware F800 launch, we've equipped several of our staff vehicles with the F800 to familiarize ourselves. We were pleased to find that the hardwire kit and front camera mount were actually the same as our F770 and could be reused. The rear camera cable still uses micro USB ports, but the right angle goes the other way around as the F800 has the port on the right side, so we switched that piece out. Here are some of the nuances that we found going from the F770 to the F800. New audio alerts. The F800 has a new voice that announces the various alerts such as continuous recording and how many motion incidents were recorded in parking mode.
Manual recording will now start.
A lot of users complained about the robotic and annoying voice used on the F770, and we can safely say that the F800 has a much more pleasant tone. Not a deal breaker by any means, but an appreciated update that will only be noticed by Thinkware veterans. The ADAS alerts have also changed a bit with the addition of an alert that lets you know when the car in front has started driving, for those distracted drivers out there. The new lane departure tone is a quiet knocking sound that is very hard to hear even in a quieter vehicle. Overall, these systems work well though, with less false alarms compared to other dashcams. Recording light. This was another common complaint of the F770, which only had two LED lights, Wi-Fi and GPS. You couldn't necessarily tell if the camera was recording. With the F800, we see the addition of a third LED light that indicates the recording status. Since these cameras don't have LCD screens, we think it's an important addition to offer the user the added peace of mind. The rear camera light on the F770 and previous two-channel Thinkware devices was also permanently on. This light can now be disabled through the settings of the F800. Rear camera. The rear camera of the F800 is different from the F770. The new unit uses a Sony Starvis sensor. Although it looks more or less the same from the outside, it's completely different internally. If you try to plug an F750, F770 rear cam into an F800, the camera will just restart constantly. The rear camera cable still uses the micro USB connection, but the plug is on the different side, so the right angled front camera of the F770 will not work on the F800 either. Parking mode compatibility. We've covered this in another post in more detail, but essentially, the F770 2-channel could only record 2 hours of motion detection footage on the 64GB card. With the F800, they've adjusted the partition settings to allow up to 5 hours of motion detection and more than 1.5 hours of parking incident storage. You will need to choose the parking priority settings to enable this. There are also a few other reconfigured partition settings, but those that park in busy areas with lots of motion triggers, this new settings will be greatly appreciated. What hasn't really changed? See our comparison chart for the F770 versus F800 for detailed specs and hardware differences in the link below. While there are some noticeable hardware and firmware changes to the F800, the F770 is still one of the best two-channel systems, so it's worth looking at what they've kept from this device. Video resolution. Despite going with the newer Umbrella A12 processor, the Thinkware F800 records at the same resolution and bitrate as the F770. This is actually not a bad thing, as the 10 megabits per second front and 10 megabits per second rear bitrate is a practical size to not result in too much overwriting. Some manufacturers are pushing 1440p resolution and over 20 megabits per second, but that combined bitrate with a two-channel setup would not be very usable, especially when parking mode is factored in. These resolutions are typically reserved for one-channel dashcams that only record while you're driving, max 1 to 2 hours a day, until we see high-quality, affordable and durable 512GB memory cards hit the market. We don't see two-channel parking mode systems adopting 1440p or 4K for a while. Lens angle. The front and rear diagonal lens angle haven't changed with the F800 despite brand new video sensors. We think this is just fine, as the 140-degree lens angle offered a good balance between a wide field of view and minimal distortion. On most vehicles, the front camera was able to pick up just a bit of the A-pillar, which indicates that it does not need to be any wider. Some of the cameras we carry offer over 160 degrees diagonal angles, but we find that it results in a bit too much sky in the video, so it can be a bit of waste going any wider than 140 degrees. Front camera mount. The front camera of the F800 uses the same mount as the F770, so it's a direct swap. This means you don't need to change your mount if you want to upgrade to a new model. If you purchased an F770 from us and are interested in upgrading to the F800, send us an email and we will get you a code. The hardwire kit and cigarette adapter are also unchanged. That being said, remember to switch out your rear cam and rear camera cable if you're making the upgrade. 64GB memory card support. The F800 still does not support 128GB and up cards, but this does help significantly. There are rumors that certain 128GB cards might work on the F770 and F800, but we have not been able to verify this with any consistency. Formatting the card repeatedly in the device or reflashing the firmware will not make a card work in the camera if it is rejecting the card. The camera rejects the cards based on the card's actual performance. Case in point, in the past we were able to run the Lexus 633X 128GB in the F770 up until about February of 2017. After this point, something changed in the manufacturing process of the Lexus cards, causing poorer performance. The older cars still worked, but none of the new ones would work. This means that it is not a firmware issue, but one of the camera's safeguard determining that a card is not up to par for the dashcam. While it's a bit of nuisance, we actually appreciate Thinkware's excellent safeguard and alerts. When low quality card is put in other cameras, they may look like they're recording, but actually have gaps in the recording or no video at all. We have never seen this to be the case with Thinkware and their accepted microSD cards. Verdict: we hope this video covered most of the differences between Thinkware's outgoing and brand new flagship 2-channel device. We've been impressed with this camera so far and find that the modest price increase is more than reasonable. We feel that the F800 does a great job of checking all the boxes of what we look for in a flagship device.